The United States and Spain had friendly relations in the period before the Second Cuban War of Independence, which began in 1895. But the United States public was very involved in what was happening in Cuba through press reports. So many segments of the American public were paying a lot of attention to Cuba. Some were, humanitarian uh, folks who wanted to help Cuba and to stop the atrocities. Others were against the United States getting involved in any way. The United States was recovering economically from, lean economic times, and many in the business community did not want to risk a recovery that was beginning by getting involved in any conflict in Cuba. Up to that point, McKinley had not favored involvement in Cuba, despite the fact that ever since the presidency of Thomas Jefferson, the U.S. had looked at Cuba as a potential addition to the American nation. And this began because Cuba occupies such a strategic position in the middle of the Caribbean. It is the largest Caribbean island, controlling access to the Gulf of Mexico. But at the same time, Spain had shown no interest in selling Cuba for decades. With the explosion of the U.S. Maine and hundreds of American sailors dead, everybody wanted to know what happened, who was responsible. The Spanish immediately blamed the Cubans, the Cuban insurrectionists, saying the Cubans did this to bring the United States into the war. The Cuban insurrectionists blamed the Spanish, who were in control of the harbor. And the assertion made by the U.S. press and in much of the U.S. public was that the Spanish did it. They're responsible. Congress passed a resolution a couple of months later giving President McKinley the power to send forces to Cuba and to negotiate either the purchase of Cuba from Spain or the end of hostilities in Cuba. The Spanish answer was to declare war against the United States 5 days later, and then that's when war began.